I always think that there is one of the best thing to do in life is try something for the very first time in your life.
Yeah.
What do you think would be the last time you tried something for the first time in your life?
The last time I try something for the first time, as old as possible. I think it's healthy to do new things, especially if they scare you a little bit. If I get asked to do something and the worst thing about it is it makes me nervous, then I always say yes.
What would that be? What was that thing that you did for the first time in your life?
Oh, it can be anything from any amount of public speaking. I mean, like a lot of people, I don't like having to get up and give talks. So sometimes I'll be asked to, I don't know, present an award to somebody or to host something. So that scares me. That makes me nervous. So I'll say yes to that. Doing game shows. I've said yes to a few of them, even though they scare me. And in the UK, we have a dancing program. You probably have something like that here, don't
Yeah,
you?
Dancing with the Stars.
Exactly. So they have it. It's called Strictly Come Dancing in the UK. And I did that, and that terrified me. Every week.
But you are a good dancer, aren't you?
I don't know. I'm enthusiastic. It counts for a lot.
We'll get to that in a second. So the new album is out. It's called Familia. Let's show it. Yay! What is it? What is about the cover, which is very similar to Wanderlust?
Yeah.
It's like a pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, that was intentional. So I wrote this album with the same guy, a very talented singer-songwriter called Ed Harcourt. And this is like the sibling to that album. So yeah, I wanted there to be similarities.
I remember you saying, talking about this album being the kind of sister to being the kind of sister to Wanderlust, and you said this thing which somehow stayed in my mind, and that it's like the girl from Wanderlust moving from Eastern Europe to South America, and therefore switching from vodka to tequila. And I can relate to that because I'm a full-blooded Eastern European guy.
Yep.
So I'm supposed to be drinking vodka, and I did, and I did many times. But somehow along the way, I discovered that the best alcohol I ever tasted in life was tequila.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, because I know you did some traveling, and you've actually been to South America, and somehow this is the outcome of that. But I was wondering, what did you discover about yourself during those travels?
Well, actually, I think the main thing I've discovered is that if I give myself a bit of a landscape and an atmosphere, I find it really inspiring for writing songs. And I think it suits this record and the one that went before it, Wanderlust, because they're the first time I've written songs that aren't just about, they're not just dancey pop tracks, they're kind of got a little bit more expansive. So writing about characters, it always makes it more fruitful for me if I can give them a location. So there's actually some of the characters on this record that are from the previous record, and it just, if I can set a scene, then it's like writing a soundtrack to some kind of strange movie, and I think that's quite helpful for me.
Well, and would there be something that you discovered about yourself as a person, not only as an artist, as a songwriter?
Well, it's probably lots of things, but I always struggle to be objective about myself. I think the main thing actually was that when I made Wanderlust, it was the first album I'd made with my own label, so we did it independently. I worked with friends. I wasn't trying to write singles and album tracks. I was just trying to make a piece of work, and I realized how much I needed something like that, I think, and how satisfying it was and how it galvanized me. And I've had like the most fun I've ever had in my career, really, the year that Wanderlust came out. And so I was very happy and confident and felt quite secure when I was making this, because it was like, I know that I love doing this, so it's really fun.
We said that this is a kind of follow-up to Wanderlust, but not only in terms of the image, which is really colorful and beautiful, but also in terms of the music, and it is the continuation of the turn that you did. What would you say that? What is the state? What is the point in your life right now that you are in?
Well, I suppose...
Because this turn in music was also probably some kind of turn in life.
Definitely. And again, something I wasn't really as aware of at the time, actually. But basically, when I got to make Wanderlust, I was 34. I was making my 5th album, and I just thought, I don't really want to just become predictable to myself, really, or get stuck in a rut. I felt like I was too young to to sort of let myself off the hook, I guess. So I thought I'm going to challenge myself, shake things up a little bit. Working with Ed was a really natural, lovely partnership. We're friends anyway, but I love working with him and writing songs. So it's just like, let's try and shake things up and just write in a different way and push myself and just remove a few of my things I find comforting and just push myself into something a little bit more scary. And it was really healthy. And now I feel like I've given myself more areas to go because, you know, I love making pop and dance, but I'm not sure how many years I'm going to want to sing about nightclubs.
So you basically don't want to be Madonna.
Well, I think every artist has to find their own thing. And right from the beginning, you know, you're always encouraged, whose career inspires you? But I always felt like, well, there's loads of people I find inspiring, but there's no one. I really want to find it for myself, follow my nose, you know. Madonna's great, but I don't think I was ever going to be Madonna, was I? I think she's slept well in her bed ever since I've been on the scene. I don't think she's been worried about that.
But this still is kind of a melancholic album. I mean, apart from perhaps Wild Forever, the opener, and Come With Us, there's loads of melancholy in that. At least that's what I find. And I was wondering, is this the natural outcome of having 4 kids? Being
really melancholy. I don't know if I quite agree with the how many songs.
Maybe not melancholy, but calming down.
Yeah, I'm always seduced by that kind of slight tug that music can give you. So I do like a little bit of melancholy mixed in, or at least a sort of bittersweet, sort of something that tugs at your heart a little bit. But I think there's lots of positivity. I mean, Ed and I are our core. We're big romantics. So things like Death of Love and Crystallize are these big sweeping grand affirmations of the importance of falling in love and loving people around you. So I don't know. I think we're positives, but I think we're quite intrigued by the dark side too.
Yeah, because I was wondering if any of these songs many of them are still about some kind of love, but would any of these songs should be associated more with the love for children, for example?
No, not specifically. I think the majority. Yeah. It's funny. My children are completely infused in everything I do. Like they're the complete center of my world. But this is going to sound maybe a little bit terrible of me. But when I go to work and when I do my music, I'm a little bit selfish about it. So they're completely there because it's a diary entry. It's always going to come directly from me. But I kind of write songs about other stuff. Yeah, I don't really want to write songs about them directly.
I was thinking about a sentence or the words that could actually describe this album. And there's this song called The Saddest Happiness.
Oh, yeah.
And that's more or less what this album is all about.
You think that kind of feel? The
saddest happiness, because it's still these are still nice melodies, but somehow there is this taste of melancholy in that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think both Ed and I, if we're going to write a song that outwardly sounds happy, it has to have a sadness to it. And similarly, anything that's got a sadness to it has to have a little bit of sunlight peeking through. So maybe show, but I think also isn't life like that? There's a complexity to everything, and even the purest happiness for me is always, and I don't mean this in a negative way because I'm a positive person, but you're always aware that it's partly so magical and special because it doesn't last forever. And I think that's a sort of eternal, I don't know, juxtaposition of life, really. We know it's only ours on loan, so maybe I'm always a bit intrigued by that.
I'm asking about family and so on. One of the reasons I ask about family is the title, which was the first, described as going to the roots that you did, perhaps with the audience and so on. But somehow I just felt that maybe this is the natural outcome of being a family woman, a mother, a wife, and so on and so on. What is the actual experience that made you record these songs, these particular songs?
Combination of things. I mean, I was pregnant with my 4th baby when we were songwriting, so that's definitely in there. The experience of you're right, the audience and that sort of ethos, the slightly indie side of me, but also a kind of pop and disco sensibility, because I like to write pop records with an indie side and indie songs with a pop side because I like the duality of it. I'm probably just feeling the older I get, I like getting older, and I like the fact that you don't have to worry about what other people.
That's another thing you usually hear.
I know, but I think it should be celebrated more because there's so many perks, and you don't have to worry about being cool. I mean, I was never very good at that anyway. So, yeah, I think just writing songs about broad range of things, and I just love working under a label where I'm not worried about have I written, the hit. And it's funny, you can't underestimate what people want to listen to. And so making albums where we feel like it's almost like painting a picture, getting all the right colours in the palette. I just find it really satisfying and quite a privilege, really.
Would you say you've thinking about the turn that you made and the things you did earlier? Actually, 4 albums were pretty much all about dancing and swaying and so on and so on. Would you say that during that time you were actually making some sacrifices and this is the real you?
No, I don't think so, actually, because I think I'm a bit too petulant for that to have been the case. But I think it's just growing up, isn't it? I mean, when I was writing my first 4 albums, I was in my 20s and experiencing, the first successes with my solo career. I was actually being introduced to dance music and pop music because I'd come very much from the sort of Britpop indie side of things. So after I'd done Groove Jet, I realised, oh my goodness, there's a whole world out there, and I was sort of falling in love with dance music, but taking it back to disco. And then, no, I think it's just growing up. I think you just got to be, if so long as you're always making music that you genuinely think you'd listen to at home, then I think all's well, really. There's no album where I think, oh my goodness, that was really under duress. I think it's important to listen to yourself and make sure that you're doing the stuff that genuinely makes you happy rather than second guessing what you think people want to hear from you.
And what makes you happy? In general, in life.
Oh my goodness, where do I start? I mean, obviously family, but then there's everything from singing to eating, really. I think I'm quite a simple creature. I can be happy with very small pleasures. So, yeah.
About eating.
Yeah.
Is there something great that you tasted in Poland while being here? Because you've been here a couple of times.
I have been here a few times. Yeah, I mean, I always try and eat a lot of local food, actually. Polish food is great. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, where we are in London...
I mean, some people say that when they come from abroad that Polish food tends to, lay there on your stomach and be quite heavy.
No, I don't think so. But also, it's quite cold at the moment, so you kind of want something a bit hearty. Also, where I am in London, there's a really big Polish community, and about a 10-minute walk from me, there's something called the Polish Centre, which is like the main place for Poles in London. So there's lots of Polish cafes and restaurants near me as well. So you don't have to come to Poland to eat Polish food where I am.
Okay, so what's the best Polish food you ate?
There's a soup which is like a sort of white borscht that's kind of like got chicken and things, and that's really tasty. I've had that recently.
What would that be? White soup?
It's like a white soup. It's like white borscht.
Żurek.
Yeah,
Żurek.
that's nice.
The one you eat with sausage
Yes.
and egg?
I like that.
That's good. That's really, really good.
Cool.
Probably some pierogi too?
Which is pierogi?
It's like the dumplings.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Come on. We're doing this just
Polish
before
food is
lunch.
much better than English food. I mean, the things the English people eat for breakfast, for example, the egg and bacon, that's a killer.
Yeah, I'm feeling this conversation a little unbalanced though, because you asked me about Polish food. I'm like, Polish food is great, and you're like, yeah, much better than British food. I don't think you want to start that argument with me. I mean, my favourite food of all time is fish and chips. So. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to.
I just love them all.
Yeah,
food.
yeah.
I'm open to any meals.
Why can't we be friends?
Exactly.
Let's go back to family for a second. 5 guys around.
Yes.
Haven't you had enough of that?
How would it work if I had? What do I do? Send them all somewhere else? I presume you're referring to my husband and my 4 children. Yeah. Well, luckily I like them all, so no, I'm all right, thanks. I'm not going to hire you as a babysitter. No.
I've been a couple of times in my life. I did many things in my life, but yeah.
Yeah, I sense maybe it's not your bag, but yeah.
But how does that? But how does that influence you as a mother, as a woman, as a person, like having all guys around?
Well, no matter how many children I had and how many, were boys and girls, I'm still the only mum. I'm always going to be the only mum. So I'm always in my own little separate entity, aren't I?
Okay. We talked about switching from dance music to like this major kind of pop music, but I asked you this question at the beginning. Are you still a good dancer? Are you still kind of party person comparing to what you were before, even though you got kids, you got husband, you got family, and you get your own life? Have you been to any wild party recently?
Actually, we do still go out quite a lot, yeah. It's just kind of picking the moment. I think, the occasions are maybe a little bit more spread out, but sure, I can still dance until the small hours. I think it brings with it a kind of happiness. And actually, I had very recently, one of my girlfriends had a birthday, and so we organised a club night, and it was so much fun. I think music is like this amazing way of like time travel. So for that night when we were out, it was really like, it felt like we were like 17, 18 again. Music can do that for me like nothing else, like no other experience. It can just be like this little loop, like where you can kind of go back and suddenly you feel like nothing's changed. So yeah, I'll happily do that one.
Okay, so the last question about that is, what is your characteristic move, your special dance move that you do when you get drunk a little bit?
Probably
'Cause I do the Running Man.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. I do some kind of shimmy, some kind of hip shimmy. When I did do the dancing show in the UK, I kept showing my professional dance partner this move, saying, "You sure you don't want to put this into a routine?" Funnily enough, he always decided not to, but I still think it's a winner.
Cool, great. Thank you.
I'll teach you.